right, John, let me see if I can remember how to do this. All right. Welcome to Spill.com. It's time for the No, that's not it?
No.
Welcome to oneofus.net.
No, that's not.
This is Double Toasted.
No.
It's Scam School.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hey, we're Scam School now. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Rage Select podcast. It seems like it's funny. Whenever we have a break, it's been like 2 weeks since I did a podcast. It seems like 1 million years. It seems like it's been 1 million. And with you and I, it's been
way longer.
A month almost since we've had a podcast. So
yeah, I haven't been on a podcast in over a month.
There you go. Hey, well, no, you've been on your own podcast that you refuse to pimp out on this show. You're on that other one, right? Where you're talking about the hitman or the replacement guy?
Well, I was
or the
on a
guy?
podcast where we talked about the middleman. I was only on like 2 episodes.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't like my podcast. It's someone else's podcast that I guested on for 2 episodes to talk about 2 very specific episodes of that show.
Okay. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Rage Select podcast here on Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
And we kind of got a slam-packed show today. I got some game reviews to do in the second half. We got a bunch of different media things to talk about, and we got a Nintendo Direct, which was nice because other than that, it was kind of like I was like, oh no, we've got 3 weeks worth of news to talk about. And it's like, oh right, there is no news.
I was just like, I remember you said that to me. I was like, hey, by the way, there was a Nintendo Direct Mini today, so you might want to check that out. It's only like 15 minutes long, and you're like, man, we might just focus on that because I don't know if we could do all 3 weeks worth of news. I was like, there ain't been no news for the last 3 weeks.
There has been some news. There's been some. But you're correct. There has not been very much. But before we talk about any of that, let's talk about it's the thing that the internet is just really mad about still. And because I watched 3 YouTube videos about why the internet was mad, it's all that YouTube wants me to watch now. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. It came out before we were even on break, but it was just I was too busy to go watch it.
Yeah.
You were busy. You were sick a lot too. I remember.
Yeah, I still got a bad cough. Still residuals.
Yeah, but I went to go see it over the holidays. I went to go see it with my family, and so we're gonna have, by the time this comes out, there'll probably be another video that, if all goes well, we'll have more in depth. But let's talk in generalities here. I fucking loved it.
I loved it too.
I mean, I wish. It's weird because I feel like
I have some complaints.
Yeah.
But overall, I liked it.
So I think it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day, how like there are a lot of people on the internet that are very mad about The Last Jedi. So over 2017, I remember there were all these things that came out that everybody liked, and it's like, oh man, everybody fucking loves Wonder Woman, and I was just like, I
didn't go see it. So.
Oh man, everybody fucking loves Blade Runner 2049. I'm like,
I haven't seen that either. I want to though. That one I really want to. I might just buy it sight unseen on Blu-ray.
Yeah. And then everybody's like, oh, everybody hates The Last Jedi, and I'm like, I liked it.
Yeah,
so apparently,
I fucking loved it.
I thought it was. I mean, like, I'm trying not to be hyperbolic, and I've actually watched it like. I watched it a second time at the theater, and then I watched some less than legit.
Watched it another way,
a different way, a third. I watched it in my mind with no other accoutrements. I liked it all those times. I really enjoyed the movie, and I think that it's probably been the Star Wars movie that I've enjoyed the most in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, like Rogue One, I didn't like Rogue One very much, and I still don't really like Rogue One.
I liked Rogue One, but it's one of those things where you can tell me why you don't like Rogue One, and I will totally understand.
Yeah.
Like when I say like I love The Last Jedi, but it has some problems, I'm talking like I have like 2 gripes, and they're not even story gripes. They're just they're like 2 or 3 gripes that are not related to the story in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Rogue One, it's like, no, that movie has a lot of problems. And when you learn the history of the behind the scenes stuff, you totally know why those problems are all fucking there.
Yeah.
But I still like the movie.
I have tried to even go back and watch it on Netflix, and it doesn't even hold my attention. Like I can't get into it at all. Episode 7, I liked it when I saw it in the theater, and I think that part of that was I'm not too proud to admit that when I saw the prequels in the theater, there's a certain amount of like, ooh, it's Star Wars, like fucking yeah, I'm getting to watch Star Wars.
Yeah,
that I think I got with Episode 7. that is kind of worn off a little bit over time, and I still think it's an okay movie. It's not something that I'm like, oh man, I need to go back and watch episode 7.
Okay.
But this new one, I fucking really liked it.
Oh yeah, no, I totally fucking loved it.
I think there's
great.
lot of things that they did, and I understand, and this is that accompanying video I think is going to be more where you should go if you want more about this. But like, I understand why people are upset about it. I really do. It just, those same things that people are upset about were almost like positive aspects for me. Like where some people were seeing plot holes, I either didn't care that it might have been a plot hole, or I actually enjoyed the fact that there was something wackadoo going on in it. I thought it had a good look. Oh
yeah, no, it looked amazing.
There was
the entire look of the movie, everything about the look of it was great.
Yeah, I think that there was a little bit of. I think that you and I could talk about this, but there's one part of the movie that drags a little bit. A lot of people just flat out hate that part. I thought it just dragged a little bit. It was a little bit longer than it needed to be, but other than that, I kind of liked it.
So I think the movie as a whole, I can say, is too long.
Yeah, okay. I would agree.
Having said that, there is no major plot point that I would cut out, because I felt every plot or side plot or, B plot, C plot, D plot.
Sure.
I thought all of those were great because I didn't hate any of them.
Yeah.
I just felt scenes could have been trimmed a little bit.
Okay, I can see that.
Like there could have been some trimming that would have made that because it kind of, the first half of the movie kind of drags. The second or the third quarter of the movie, that right after that first half, starts to ramp up, but still kind of drags. And then that last quarter of the movie fucking flies, and it at no point, and it just flies in a really good way.
It's interesting. It's really hard to talk about this without going into spoiler territory, but it's funny because I remember hearing about that, and then when I went back to watch it a second time, I expected to feel that drag, because I wouldn't use the word drag. I would say that it's very slow. It's
slow.
It's a lot slower than your average blockbuster movie, right?
Yeah, and I'll give you that, because like when I say drag, I don't mean like drag in a negative connotation. I mean it as slow.
Well, when I watched The Punisher, for example, there were a bunch of parts of The Punisher where I was just sitting there going like, okay, already. And like the second and third time that I watched Last Jedi, there were parts that were definitely muted and more subtle, and they were slower, but I never found myself going like, come on.
No, and I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I just mean that,
but I get you.
Looking back at it, there's a few spots where they maybe could have trimmed a couple of seconds off of this scene, maybe a minute off of this scene, and not lost anything.
Yeah.
And it would have, because again, even when it feels slow, it doesn't feel like the plot's not moving forward. Like while you're watching it, you don't notice it, but you kind of, when you get to the end of it and you realize how long you're in the motherfucking movie theater, it's like, God damn. Like, I've been kind of like, I don't know if I want to spend that much time in a movie theater again to go watch that movie again. And I want to go see the movie again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like,
it definitely is long. And
could use some trims here and there.
I would almost, it's weird. It's kind of a weird thing. But there's actually there's the sequence, to talk real vaguely here, but I think that anybody who's seen the movie will know. There's one sequence that I think that a lot of people don't like, that I feel like could have been edited down dramatically. It's a side thing in the middle of the movie that a lot of people had issue with, that there was probably quite a bit of that could have been chopped down. And then I think that there's a few parts in the action sequences towards the end, and maybe even at the very beginning of the movie, that also probably could have been chopped a little bit. But I agree with you that it's weird, because I do think it's a very long movie, and I kind of wish that it was shorter, but like you, I don't know I would do.
Well,
I don't know how I would make it shorter.
It's kind of funny because like one of my friends who does like the movie, who's like hardcore loves the movie.
Yeah.
Is like very much like, no, you can't edit anything. It's edited perfectly. Nothing can be cut, period. Matter of fact, I think they should have added more to it. Like hardcore, he's like, because I love Lord of the Rings, and those Lord of the Rings extended editions are fucking perfect. And I'm like, fuck you. The theatrical versions are no. Get the fuck out. Because those movies are too goddamn long in their extended version. And I don't want that in my Star Wars.
Okay, so I disagree. I like the extended versions of Lord of the Rings.
I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they're too fucking long.
But there's a difference between a 3-hour movie that I can watch and pause and go smoke and check my email and do whatever, and sitting in a darkened theater for 3 hours watching a movie.
Yeah,
right?
no.
I don't have any problem with a home release. In fact, if they did want to add additional stuff to a home release of The Last Jedi, I would maybe be interested in that. But
I'm just saying I don't need my theater experience to be a 4-hour, 5-hour long experience. No, I want.
Or if they're going to keep doing that, if they're going to keep doing this 2.5-hour movie bullshit, can we bring back the intermission? Because I am always playing Russian roulette at the Alamo Draft House with, am I going to have to go pee? And when I go pee, am I going to have to sight unseen, like, make a choice about, like, well, this scene doesn't seem like, it seems like it's going to go on for a little while, and it seems like I don't really need to see it. I think I might have 2 minutes to run out here and pee and then come back.
Oh no, I was holding it for like half of Star Wars because I didn't want to get up.
Yeah. But anyway, I really liked it. For more thoughts, go look at that other thing. Also, Black Mirror season 4 came out.
Yeah, I haven't seen it
on Netflix.
I don't really watch Black Mirror.
Okay. I like Black Mirror an awful lot. I think that season 4 is the weakest season that they've had so far.
Okay.
I feel like they've gotten one of the big things about Black Mirror is that they always seem to have a kind of a, it's like a Twilight Zone, right?
Yeah.
They have a twist, and you're looking to see. Some of them aren't as twisty as others. Like Nosedive, the season 3 opener with Bryce Dallas Howard, where the people are social mediating each other. You kind of get the impression at the very beginning about kind of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so there isn't really like a big, like, it's not like Twilight Zone where then the lights come on, everybody's got a pig face except for the lady, and she's beautiful. But season 4 was not very twisty, in my opinion, and I feel like it suffered a little bit. It also tended to use the same technology over and over again, where part of Black Mirror has always been kind of like the way that different technology interfaces. But it's not always about technology. Like the first episode where the Prime Minister has sex with the pig, that's very much just kind of like a weird crime drama. But then the second episode of that series is 5 million merits, or 15 million merits or whatever, where all the people live in this weird dystopian video game exercise bike, American Idol, Xbox Live future. And so it's very different. Whereas all of these were relatively grounded, with maybe the exception of Metalhead, where they all had a relatively similar set of technological hooks to them, and so it kind of felt very like blurg. So I don't know. It just didn't feel, and I'm wondering whether that's because this is the first time where Black Mirror came out last year, and they had 1 year to make 6 episodes, and they did. The USS Callister episode, the opener, was probably my favorite.
A lot of people have quoted it as that the shining beacon of the season.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people really like Black Museum, which is the last episode that actually references like most of the other Black Mirror episodes and kind of establishes that they're all like in a similar continuity, which there had been little callbacks throughout. Like you'll be watching an episode and there'll be a news crawl that references something that happened in a previous episode. But this is the first time where somebody walks into, the premise is that this woman goes into this museum and there's all these exhibits and they're referring to all of these different Black Mirror episodes.
Night Gallery. That's the twist. It's not the Twilight Zone, it's Night Gallery.
It's Night Gallery. But I don't like that. I don't like the idea of them all being in the same universe because it limits what they can do then. Also, last season they had an episode called San Junipero that everybody really liked. That was like the first kind of more of like a happy story, like a romantic happy story Black Mirror, as opposed to like this dystopian, thing. Everybody really liked it. I thought it was okay. And then they definitely went for another kind of happy version in Hang the DJ, and I was kind of interested, and then when they got to the end of what it was, I was kind of like, eh. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like Dark Souls 2, John, in that even on a bad day, Black Mirror is still good. Yeah. I didn't hate watching any of them, but like season 3 had a bunch of really strong stuff. Every season of Black Mirror has some that hit and some that don't. Season 3, I thought, had some of the highest highs that I've seen in Black Mirror, but it also had some of the lowest lows. And the season 4, I feel like mostly USS Callister, and the rest of them were okay. I mean, Crocodile was barely a Black Mirror episode at all. Metalhead was barely a Black Mirror episode at all. These weren't talking about, because the whole, the premise, like what Black Mirror means is your cell phone turned off. It's a Black Mirror, and so a lot of it is your relationship with technology and how moving forward our relationship with technology will change us and what that means to us, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so many of these were just very weak in that aspect that they ended up being more of like drama stories, and it didn't work as well for me as the previous season. So I don't know. If you liked it, great. I wish that I did like it more. I mean, as always, I wish that I did. But yeah, watched a bunch of Twilight Zone. Been playing just a shitload of video games during the break. Did you see anything
Shape of Water was really
good.
Shape
of Water, yeah,
it was really good.
I haven't gotten a chance to watch that yet. I also watched I, Tonya, which was really fun. The Tonya Harding story. I'm
trying to think if there was anything else.
I know Amanda is like a million thumbs up on Shape of Water.
Oh yeah, no, it's like literally her favorite movie of ever in existence. And it's kind of funny because, and we were talking about this the last, every time Del Toro releases a movie, as long as I've known Amanda, whatever the movie is, before she even knows what it is, it happens to be referencing or homaging the thing that she's kind of really into at that moment.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of always feels like Del Toro movies are made just for her because literally it's everything she wants in a movie.
Okay.
And it's because she, for the first time, saw Creature from the Black Lagoon this past Halloween, and she fucking loves Creature.
When she was doing her horror,
100 movies, 100 days kind of thing. She watched Creature from the Black Lagoon for the first time and fucking fell in love with it. It's a great movie. And then this happens to be an homage to that, but also it's not a monster movie. It's a love story with a monster in it. And I really appreciate that the marketing has reflected that.
Yeah.
Because that was the problem with Crimson Peak, is that it's a gothic love story, but
it was marketed as a horror movie.
Elements.
Right.
But it was marketed as a horror movie.
Yeah.
And it was marketed just completely wrong. Like, I feel like had it been marketed correctly, it may not have done as well, which I don't think it did very well anyways.
No.
But I think it would have probably been reviewed better because I feel like people went in expecting one thing and then got something completely different.
Yeah.
Which I like. Both me and Amanda really liked Crimson Peak.
I liked Crimson Peak, but I didn't see a single trailer for it. I just saw it and was like, oh, this is a Del Toro. All right, I'll check it out. And
no, we were kind of the same way. We were like, Del Toro in, not even, don't even, all you have to say is Del Toro directed it and we're in. You don't even have to tell us what it is.
Okay.
But this, it's a love letter to, like old style filmmaking. It's it is a love letter to what we think of as the golden age of Hollywood, while also being about a monster and also being a love story. It's all these things, and it's really, really good.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
But yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think if there was anything else that I've been watching. I can't think of anything because I've been playing a lot of video games. I've been watching a lot of anime on Funimation and Crunchyroll through Verve. I've also watched all of Bravest Warriors and stuff like that just because I have it.
Okay. Oh, real fast, as we're getting ready to transition to video games, just to let everybody know, okay, so this year when it came to you and I talking about our favorite games of 2017, I had a choice. And that choice was, like, last year I felt really bad because I remember that I think that around the end of 2016 I was trying really hard to finish Dragon Age Inquisition and I really just wasn't having it. and that there were a couple of things that I missed out on really getting into because I kept kind of fucking with that game, or maybe it might have been The Witcher. I might have been thinking of another thing. So anyway, there are about 5 games that I wanted to beat come Christmas before I wanted to make my decisions about 2017. Because you know what, John? No Dark Souls or Bloodborne game came out, so I can't just automatically give that my favorite game of the year and then move on with my life.
And Overwatch is old.
And Overwatch is old, right? Hitman didn't come out this year.
Yeah.
Like there was a Saints Row game, but we all know that it wasn't really very good. Anyway, so there were a few games that I wanted to finish, and I'm glad that I've been having the chance to do this. But what this means in practical terms is that hopefully we're going to be doing our best of 2017 at the end of January, because over the break I managed to finish Nier, finish Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and last night I finished Horizon Zero Dawn. Next is Yakuza 0, and then after that I'm going to try to finish Persona 5, and then there are a couple of other things like Ruiner and some of the smaller indie games that I know won't take me very long that I like to just kind of try to wrap up. But I really want to make sure, especially with the way that people are talking about it, I want to make sure that I got through Nier. I wanted to make sure that I got through Horizon Zero Dawn. I felt bad about not being able to play those. And then I enjoyed Yakuza Kiwami so much that I wanted to try Zero. And then I really want to get through Persona because I enjoyed that game. It's just when you go to how long to beat Persona 5 says 90 hours, like regular 90 hours. Like completionist is like 120 hours. That's the longest goddamn RPG I've ever seen. That's like longer than The Witcher 3, which is like 50 hours, you know? So anyway, hopefully at the end of this month, we're going to, because the nice thing is that it's January, so there's nothing to get in my way. Yeah.
Until the end of the month. Yeah.
Nothing to get in my way. So yeah, that is the case for Game of the Year. I know that, this is 900 people listen to this podcast, so, it's not like the internet's just like, shit, you got to get it up right now. But I just want to make sure that I give everybody an equal... and also
what?
That gives you
Jeff
time.
Isn't doing his Game of the Year right now? I'm never listening to this podcast again.
It's like weird how it's like you merged everybody's impression of Donald Trump with the comic book guy from The Simpsons into one brand new hateable voice.
Yeah, that's all I try.
That's the internet. But anyway, speaking of the internet, let's talk about Nintendo, who just out of nowhere was like, bleep, blop, bloop.
Yeah, like what I love about this. So what I do want to preface this because this was pretty awesome. Yesterday, GameStop put up a tweet that said, who's ready for the Nintendo Direct in 43 minutes? And then 5 minutes later, took it down. Then like 30 minutes later, Nintendo put up an image, no text on it, of Chibi Robo holding up a plug on fire.
That's okay. That's what that was.
There was no comment about it though.
Yeah.
And then today they did this,
which has no Chibi Robo announcement.
Yeah, there's no Chibi Robo. I think they just went, what can we show that says technology on fire?
Yeah. So, I mean, before we start, this Nintendo Direct was 15 minutes long as opposed to their normal like hour-ish
you can watch it on a small break.
Yeah.
A smoke break at work.
Yep. And there's going to be a lot of ports. We have a lot of ports and DLC in here. So not a lot of...
It's all stuff being released this year.
Yes. A lot of it early this year, too.
Yeah, spring.
Anyway, so but it starts out with the very first thing, something that nobody could have... You could have told me this, and even when they brought up the graphics for it, I was like, is that The World Ends With You?
Yeah.
So, okay, for those of you who maybe don't know, The World Ends With You was a Nintendo DS RPG that Square put out, and it was interesting. Did you play The World Ends With You?
Yes, I actually owned it on the DS.
Okay.
I also played the mobile tablet version, which I'm assuming this is slightly based on.
I think it has to be, because the big thing that I'm okay. So this was it's very Persona or Shin Megami Tensei in a way, where it's like you play as this young kid with the big headphones and a scarf,
Beats?
something like that. And it's like,
or is that a different character?
The shadows are coming in, and you've got to combat them with your weird Kingdom Hearts looking friends.
Yeah, so you're basically given, and it's the same character designer that did Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, that explains why everybody's got the giant feet.
But it's basically that you're brought into this thing where if you don't do a certain bunch of actions in a certain amount of time, like you're going to be erased from existence.
Yeah.
And so you and these other people who are also caught in this basically are trying to either complete these missions or fight monsters and stop it.
Okay. The thing that's strange to me, and you can help me if you've played this on the tablet. So on the DS, there was a thing where the top screen had one character that had like a rhythm, like a very simple rhythm game, and then the bottom screen you would use, I think, the stylus to move them and then like tap to attack. And so you were doing, and you would kind of pass, like they were both fighting the same enemy, but like in different like sections of reality.
Yeah.
And then you kind of pass this power up between the two of them. If I'm really going off of like memory here, but it was something like that. But I don't understand how this would work on one screen, because the whole hook of it was that you had the two screens, that you were doing a rhythm game on one and you were doing the stylus game on the other.
It was different on the tablet. Like even the tablet came out a long time ago. It's different, but it works.
Okay.
It does use the tablet's touch screen and stuff like that. I've heard that, they said that this will work with the Switch's touchpad, but also will have a new control scheme that's for the Joy-Cons.
For the Joy-Con, okay.
So,
I could see maybe using like the analog stick to it, because they're both, well, the first thing is that they're both on the same screen. And I can almost see using the analog stick, like the right analog stick, and then an attack, and then using the D-pad maybe to do the rhythm game, because it was a very simple rhythm game. It was very easy to do.
And then I'll also state that it looks like they're adding another campaign, like another story element to it that's going to be exclusive to this.
Yeah,
that fleshes out the story a little bit more.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. It was always kind of an interesting game that I just never got its hooks into me. So
it's one of those games I know a lot of people wanted a sequel to.
Yeah,
and never got it.
Okay. Well, we'll see. It's going to be out this year. Next, there's a bunch of different, this is kind of a random assortment. Actually, you know what? Most of the rest of this is a random assortment, so we're just going to kind of go through it at a relative clip. Let me just see what we got going on here. Oh, yeah, we got plenty of time. Pokken Tournament DX is getting 2 sets of DLC.
Yeah.
With new...
It's one DLC pack, but it comes out in 2 waves.
Oh, okay.
So you're only paying for it once, and you get both waves.
I couldn't tell you anything about these Pokemans. Like, I'm not excited. I only ever played Pokken Tournament once.
Yeah, same here.
And I never even got it on my Switch. So, if you're a fan of it, it didn't seem like a bad game or anything.
No. It's fun.
It just, I always felt like it needed more Pokemon, but then it's a fighting game, so you have to have the balance, right?
That's what they're adding. They're adding more Pokemon.
So. Kirby Star Allies is getting, this is just basically, this game isn't even out yet. It comes out, I think, next week on the 3DS.
Yeah,
they're just talking about like Friends.
Well, this is the Switch version. These are all Switch games.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
When is this coming out then?
This is coming out March.
Okay.
There is a Kirby game coming out for the 3DS.
Oh, it's that. And they talk Battle Royale.
That comes out. The demo for that is already out, I think.
Okay.
But this is an entirely new game that you can play by yourself or co-op with a friend.
Yeah.
And there are special abilities with playing it with friends and things like that. And
I forgot about this because of how much I hate Kirby with a fiery, hot passion of 1,000 suns.
Well, Amanda's excited for it, so
of course. Yeah, I don't. This doesn't really. I mean, I don't know.
It looks like a Kirby game.
This is kind of reminds me of the Yoshi games, where it's like I'm not really a big fan of Kirby. It looks like but Nintendo doesn't make like shit ass games.
No, they don't.
So it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So we also the Battle Royale demo is out now
for 3DS.
Dragon Quest Builders.
Yeah, they also announced that. Speaking of demos, the Dragon Quest Builders demo is out on the Switch as of today.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because I was actually thinking Dragon Quest Builders, I believe, came out last year, and I bought it on the PS4. I even played it, but we never did anything for it on Rage Select because other stuff just kind of got in the way. It's an okay game. I think it would be better to play on something like the Switch than it would on.
Well, there's a demo out today that you can, as of we're recording this, that people can test it and see if they like it.
Yep. Hyrule Warriors Ultimate. I thought this had already been announced. Had this already been announced?
It was rumored.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't like there was no official announcements, but everyone was like, they're going to do it.
Okay.
There's no way they're not going to do it.
Okay, so this is Hyrule Warriors Ultimate Edition, which is all the DLCs, all the maps, all the costumes, all the everything from both the 3DS and the Wii U version.
Yeah, so it has everything that was on the Wii U version and also everything that was on the 3DS version, because the 3DS version had some exclusive stuff.
Yeah.
This has got all of it. And it has like local 2-player co-op.
And some outfits from Breath of the Wild for Zelda and Link. I can honestly say that I don't know. I mean, like, I played Hyrule Warriors and I liked Hyrule Warriors. I don't know if I ever want to play it again, though. Like,
I feel like this kind of thing, like this Mario Kart 8, if they ever do a Smash Brothers release, I feel like that's them. Even like Pokken Tournament, I feel like it's less of a, hey, here's something for you to buy again, and more of a, hey, all you people that skipped the Wii U, here's these really awesome games that you missed out on.
That is true. That is one of those things that I feel like a lot of people who are critical of the fact that these are re-releases, it's like, yeah, but the Wii U didn't sell for shit, and like these were quality games that nobody played.
Let's also point out that when they ended the year, they announced that the Nintendo Switch outsold the Wii U the entirety of the Wii U's lifespan.
How do you go stepping on the stories that I got to talk about after this story?
Sorry.
No, that's all right. Yes, no, that's a good point, and it doesn't matter. It's just a very quick no. Yeah, the 4-year lifespan of the Wii U has been outsold by the Switch in
less than a year.
Because when did it come out?
It came out in like March, right?
Yeah, it was
like March, May.
Wait, something like that. Yeah, that's amazing. And there's at least one other big game that's coming out here that it was a Wii U game, and I think that's smart in that Nintendo put a lot of work into these games. Now the real question is, here's a question. Let's speculate for a second.
I'm going to speculate with
All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
Will they fix and re-release stupid Star Fox that they fucked up?
No.
Yeah, because that would have to admit that was a bad idea with the whole motion control bullshit.
Yeah. No, I don't think they'll do that.
Okay. I wish they would. But
I am totally on board if they want to release a Smash Brothers. I mean, they got it, right? That's
unless they announce a new one at E3 this year, I think that it would be more than worth their time, because there was so much DLC for the Wii U Smash Brothers. They've got the 2 controllers built into the same system where you could just play it with your friends wherever. I think it would be a no-brainer, to be honest. But didn't they? Because wasn't there a thing like 4 months ago where people realized that one of the firmware updates had made it so that you could plug that USB GameCube adapter into the Switch and it did function?
Yes.
Which could only be for an eventual Smash Brothers release.
Yeah,
so,
and that's what everyone's thinking.
Anyway, back to the Nintendo Direct. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. I gotta say though, you do make a good point though. If you didn't own a Wii U but you do own a Switch and you didn't play Hyrule Warriors,
totally worth it.
Even if you don't like Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors is probably one of the best Dynasty Warriors games ever.
Yeah.
And it's got a really interesting take on a Zelda story. It's a really just well-made, fun-ass game.
Yeah.
And the only criticism I have of it is that it is still a Dynasty Warriors game. It's kind of the least Dynasty Warriors game that I've played, but it's still worth playing.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll tell you what's not worth playing, John, and that's fucking tennis.
Okay.
Nobody should ever play tennis ever again in real life or in video games, and that includes fucking Mario.
So I'm pretty sure you're basing your opinion on the Wii U tennis game, which was garbage.
No, I'm basing my my opinion on the fact that I've been playing tennis video games for 20 years, and there's never been one that I've really been all that interested in.
All right. I'm actually interested in this because this is going to have a story mode, which is the first one since the Game Boy Advance Mario Tennis game. Which I think is that story mode for that game was actually pretty fucking badass. I don't know if you ever played it. It was a really good. It was an RPG. It was less of a tennis game and more of an RPG.
Okay.
It was just really good.
I'll take your word for it. I don't.
So I'm actually, if it's anything like that, I'm actually kind of interested in this.
Okay, that's Mario.
But you know what? I think they should what they should release next after this.
Golf.
Motherfucking Mario Strikers.
Was that? Oh, soccer.
The soccer game. Motherfucking yes.
Once you put Mario in a sports game, I don't care anymore. I just no, I don't want to see
3-on-3 basketball. Come on, let's do it.
You know
NBA home court style.
Okay, are we imagining the things that Nintendo makes that I'd like to see?
Hockey.
Do you want to know what I want?
Run Yoshi over with a Zamboni.
Do you want to know what I want?
What do you want?
I want to know on the fucking Switch? I want WarioWare back. I want a good new WarioWare game for the Nintendo Switch. Why? There was 2 good WarioWare games before they fucked it all up with the stupid Wii version or whatever. But like, it's got the little things you could make the little things do different things. You got the 2 thing. Oh man, I love WarioWare. But take him out of tennis. Don't put him in tennis. Put him in.
I almost feel like 1-2 Switch was originally supposed to be a Wario game, and they decided
could eat balls. It's not WarioWare.
And then they decided to remove the WarioWare out of it.
Yeah, and make it weird, like what you're just phantom jerking off in front of your friends in your living room.
Milking a cow, Jeff. You're milking a cow.
You're jerking it. You're jerking it, John. That's what you're doing. Everybody can pretend. Yeah. Fucking 1-2 Switch. Where's my WarioWare? You could release DLC for 1-2 Switch that made it into WarioWare that just put what are the names of all the like Afro guy and the little kid?
Yeah, I don't remember.
And it was like a dog or something. There's a girl. Yeah. Anyway. Mario Tennis Aces. I'm sorry, I got really excited. I was thinking about WarioWare. From there, Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana is coming to the Nintendo Switch.
There is no Dana. Only Zool.
Only Zool, because Dana's all in capital letters.
Oh yeah.
This I'll be honest, John. Okay, so this came out on I think it was like the PC this year. This game looks dull as dishwater.
It looks like Monster Hunter.
It kind of looks like a weird Monster Hunter, and then just like every other NIS RPG that's ever come out. If I remember correctly, I think that there was a thing on the PC where the translation was not great, and that they were actually going back to.
I thought that was the previous Ys game,
or was that 7? Okay, I don't know. All I know is that I look at this trailer, and it just looks real dull. It just looks like a real dull JRPG. Like,
hey, some people like that.
Maybe so. Maybe you're just like, hey, more JRPGs for me. Great. But nothing about the character design or the story setup or any of the rest of it really does anything for me.
Yeah,
at all. Next up, hey, John, I have a riddle for you. How about a riddle?
Okay, what's the riddle?
How do you fuck up a perfectly good Mario game?
How?
Put Luigi in it.
Hey, fuck you.
No, what is this? New DLC for Super Mario Odyssey where Luigi...
It's free, motherfucker.
I don't care if it's free. It's stupid. Luigi's coming in with his dumb balloons, and it's hide and seek on the internet with Luigi's Dumb Balloon World on Super Mario Odyssey.
Then don't play it, and you can only play it if you've beaten the game.
Yeah.
And all I can say is don't fucking play it then, Jeff.
I'm not gonna, John. I don't know. This just seems like a really weird way to.
Yeah, no, it's
like.
Weird.
Why did you even bother? Like, why not? I mean, it's like you hide balloons in the world, and then people online can go try to find those balloons.
Well, you
quickly.
have 30 seconds to hide the balloon.
Okay,
so you have to know exactly how what the layout of the land is to figure out where to hide it, and then you have 30 seconds to find the balloons if you're. Finding them. Also, they announced 3 new costumes. One is
Sunshine Shades.
Then there's the musician hat, which basically it looks like you're wearing the same outfit as the musicians from New Donk City. And then there's the Dark Souls outfit,
the knight helmet. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's free, as you said.
Yeah, it's a free update, Jeff.
Come on, motherfucker. Put something else in there.
Give me a new Luigi's Mansion, though, man. Come on, Nintendo.
Give me 2 new worlds, and I'll pay you $20, Nintendo. I loved Super Mario Odyssey. I'd be more than happy to pay for a few new worlds DLC. As long as it's just not Assassin's Creed. As long as it's not some Assassin's Creed crossover because of the Rabbids thing, and then because they tried to shove Assassin's Creed into every other video game. No Assassin's Creed, no Final Fantasy 15.
Mario dresses up as an assassin.
No, as an assassin, or as Noctis, or Noctis is now in Super Mario Odyssey for some stupid reason. Quit putting Final Fantasy 15 and Assassin's Creed and things. Anyway.
There's also new filters for your camera.
Yeah. Woo.
I like the camera. I like games with cameras in them. Woo. I kind of get obsessed with picture taking.
Woo. Yeah. Anyway, all that's coming out in February, and you can hear how excited I am. Listen how excited I am. Woo. That's how excited I am. John's excited.
I am excited.
There you go. 50% of us are excited. Well, I'll tell you what I am really excited about. A real weird motherfucking thing.
Do you like SNK?
Do you like the women in an SNK game?
Do you like King of Fighters? Well, too bad. We're going to give you a game that's using the women characters and is weird. I mean, I'm actually okay with this, by the way. I made my intro there kind of sound like I might have been a little upset with it. I'm not actually like it.
This is weird. Because did you listen to what they were saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy, which basically looks like they pulled all of the ladies
it's
out
all
of
the
King
female
of Fighters,
characters from King of Fighters.
And they're in a tag team because, like, in King of Fighters, you can pick whether you want, like, 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, so you're in it. It's a tag team style match.
Yeah. But then they said, like, one-button special moves.
Yeah, it's one-button special moves. Also,
items.
Yeah. They're when you tag out, items will pop into the world that you can use.
Yeah.
Also, when you get your opponent's health down to 0, that is not the end of the match.
Right.
You have to also do a special finishing move.
Right.
To be able, because so that way, if your health gets all the way to the bottom, you still have a chance to come back.
Yeah.
But if you do a special finishing move called a dream finish, which
you win.
Mm-hmm. And then apparently that's one of the ways to win.
You know what it honestly feels like is like they wanted to put King of Fighters on the Switch, and then Nintendo was like, that's cool. Maybe Smash Brothers it up a little bit. Like maybe simplify it, because King of Fighters is already not well, no, that's not true. I was going to say King of Fighters isn't that complex, and then I remembered that every time that I played King of Fighters, there was like 25 tutorials about the different ways to do like break limit, cancel, reduction, chip damage techniques or whatever. But I'm on board with this because I thought King of Fighters was super fun.
Yeah, no, I love King of Fighters.
The one that came out last year, the 14 or whatever it was. And then I really appreciate the way that they took the criticism of like the way that things looked, and they put in like a new shader model. They started throwing out some new characters and costumes and stuff. So I like
weird.
Yeah, it's weird, but I'm into it.
Yeah, no, I'm totally on board for it. It's gonna be available this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And they also pointed out that what is it? Fatal Fury.
Oh, I didn't.
Not Fatal Fury. Art of Fighting 2, which is the first appearance of the character Yuri, who is also in the game, got released today on the Nintendo eShop.
It's so hard to keep up with they release those Neo Geo things like crack. Anyway, speaking of crack, Mario and Rabbids is getting some
new character,
crack-headed DLC in the form of everybody's favorite gorilla, Donkey Kong.
Yep. Donkey Kong.
Yep. Donkey Kong. This is like a kind of a little just cinematic trailer, but it seems like that Donkey Kong may have some different traversal techniques than some of the other people, and that he's got his
own story mission and
throwing bananas.
Yeah.
which is kind of weird because everybody else in Rabbids has guns. I don't know if he has his own guns or if he's
he probably just throws a banana.
Just throwing a banana.
It's a boomerang banana, so it always comes back.
I've never been the biggest fan in the world of Donkey Kong.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm a Mario guy. Like I'm a child of the 80s.
Okay.
Like it was Mario. Famously, or I don't know, maybe not infamously, Donkey Kong Country never got its yeah. I always thought it looked weird, and I never really enjoyed the way that it worked.
But yeah, it's DLC that'll be available this spring.
Yeah,
I'm sure if you have the season pass for it, it's part of that.
Oh, I'm sure it better be. Yeah. So there's a couple of quick things here that we don't need to spend that much time on. Payday 2 is going to have an exclusive character, I think a timed exclusive character.
Yeah, they're releasing Payday 2 to the Switch, and it's going to have a timed exclusive character
called Joy, who's got an LED mask, and she's a hacker and has some
special abilities.
I don't know that there's anything that you could say about Payday 2 that would make me interested in playing Payday 2. The last few times I've played Payday 2, I've just been kind of like, this is kind of dull. You're just shooting cops and shooting cops and shooting cops, and the drill overheated, go hold down the button on the drill, and then like shooting cops and shooting cops. I don't know. It's a lot of people like it, but from there was a trailer for Faye, which we heard about I think 2 years ago at E3.
Yeah.
Which is this very kind of little just platform and monochromatic. You're this little beastie,
and apparently the way you do certain things will cause music.
Yeah,
and will change the environment.
Yeah, it looks okay. This is one of those things where, I mean, like, I would never make space in my calendar to play this game. It looks perfectly functional as a video game, but whatever. And then Celeste, which is this little pixelated platformer. There was a weird kind of like, this seems like it has some shades of something like Super Meat Boy in it, but then there's like a variable difficulty that you can control.
Yeah, you can even make yourself invincible so that you can't take damage.
Make things go slower, make yourself invincible. It looks, again, it's kind of like Fair, where it looks okay, but like, I mean, if it's available January 25th, which it is, I was looking for things in January to play. Might not playing it, but next from there, more DK.
Yeah, Donkey Kong.
You haven't had enough of it.
No. Actually, it's a really good game.
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Yes, which was released on the Wii U and also the 3DS, which I played it on the 3DS.
Oh, okay.
It was actually the first game I bought or got for the 3DS XL when I got mine.
Oh, okay.
It was given to me as a birthday gift, and it's actually really good.
Okay.
But then again, you have to like
Donkey Kong
Country. But it's got a new character in it.
Yep, Funky Kong. Who just seems like when they announced him, it seems like he just breaks this game.
Kind of, yeah.
Like he just seems like easy mode where he just has like infinite air jumps and can just like go on top of anything.
Well, he has infinite rolls and infinite water dash, but he can hover in the air and he also has double jump.
Yeah. Seems like he's just breaking the game.
And also his surfboard that he puts on makes him immune to spikes.
Yep. So the best.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Country, a lot of people, Tropical Freeze, everybody really liked it. Seemed to think it was very good.
Donkey Kong Country Returns was good. Tropical Freeze was just as good. Highly recommend it.
Okay. As I previously stated, not the biggest Donkey Kong Country fan, so I didn't really play it. But I'll tell you what I did play as we come to the end of this Nintendo Direct. A thing that I've played maybe once.
I think I asked you about this
maybe
once.
Twice.
I think I asked you at some point saying, what would you do if this was announced?
Yep. Dark Souls
remastered.
I didn't. Okay, we're going to talk about the remastered part in the beginning, but there's this trailer that came out. Dark Souls is coming to the Switch. Dark Souls Remastered specifically is coming to the Switch. There was a trailer that basically just showed lighting a bonfire.
Yeah.
I was a little upset about that because I would like to see
what it looks like.
A little bit more of what the game actually looks like. So let me first say, because we're going to use this as a segue to talk about this Dark Souls remaster. Let me first say, I'm not entirely certain about this, and it's for a weird reason. So you remember Skyrim came out on the Switch, and I got Skyrim for the Switch.
Yeah.
I don't really enjoy Skyrim on the Switch because the analog sticks on the Switch are a little shorter than what you would get. They have a little bit less movement, and they're a little shorter than what you would get off of like a PlayStation or an Xbox controller, which means that in a game that was kind of tuned for that, it always feels like I'm just going too far.
You tried to use the Elite controller?
No, because I really wanted to be able to play Skyrim on. I mean, like, if I'm going to be using the controller, I might as well just be playing Skyrim Remastered on the PS4, right?
Okay.
So I don't know if that's the thing where I'm going to get used to it. Traditionally, I've actually had a lot of problems with Nintendo's analog pads. I hated the pad on the. I still hate the pad on the 3DS.
Yeah.
And even on the Wii U, I feel like they've kept shortening the analog sticks in order to make it so that they don't catch on stuff as much when you're kind of moving it around. And I'm like, I don't care about that. Like, make it catch. So while I'm interested in being able to play Dark Souls anywhere, there are two things. One is I'm a little worried about the control schema with the thing. Plus, it's a little weird. I'm still trying to get used to playing on the Switch with my hands really far apart. It was a problem I had with the Wii U as well, where I'm just used to having my hands on a controller be very close together, and it feels weird to kind of have them apart with the weight of a console between them. The other thing is that people are like, oh, shit, Jeff, what do you think about this? And I'm like, you guys realize that I've played Dark Souls a fucking lot, right? Like, I mean, yeah, I'll play some Dark Souls, don't get me wrong, but, like, it's not just like, oh, like, I'm more interested in whatever the next thing that From Software is putting out, or, like, a new game than I am in releasing this again. I still think it's a great idea to be releasing things like Skyrim, things from the Wii U catalog on the Switch, because there is something about just making those games portable, about having a version of Dark Souls that I can take to grandma's house and just set up on a table and be like, yeah, all right, grandma. Yeah. All my grandmas are dead, so sorry, but that I could take on.
That took a dark turn.
A Dark Souls turn. I brought it back. Like, oh, I could take it on the bus. The main issue that I have with some of the Switch stuff is that it would be really interesting if I still had a day job, or if I traveled, or if I went out even to the bar anymore. But I pretty much
just left your house ever.
I don't leave my house as much as I used to. It's not to say that I'm like agoraphobic or anything. It's just I have less and less reason to go anywhere. So I'm interested in that. But along with that was the announcement that Dark Souls Remastered is coming to the PS4, the Xbox One, PC, and the Switch. And so let's just run down real fast. The whole thing here is it's being upgraded so that it'll run in 4K on the PC, on the PS4, and on the Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
It's being upgraded so that it'll run at 60 frames per second.
Mm-hmm.
The PC version also has uncompressed 2K textures in it, which is cool. It's all going to have the DLC. It's all great. It's all fine.
Yeah.
This is one of those cases where I wasn't really ever interested in having Dark Souls be re-released like this. I wanted Dark Souls to be like rebuilt in the DS3 engine, because the thing is, 4K is interesting. I don't really have a 4K TV. I mean, I have a PS4, and I would like to be able to play it in 4K. Maybe this will be the reason to buy a 4K. Maybe this will be my reason after taxes to go buy a 4K TV.
There you go.
But the thing is that all the game is exactly the same, and DS Fix on the PC already got my frame rate up to 60 and a pretty high res version of Dark Souls. So I need to see it. I need to see what this looks like, to see if it looks significantly different than just, say, the PC version of Dark Souls 1 with DS Fix installed at 1080p. Yeah. So I'm interested. I like Dark Souls, and I think that people considering that if you don't have a gaming PC and that this is the first time that you'd be able to play a real top-notch version of Dark Souls 1 on the PS4, the Xbox One, I think that's great.
I also think it's also now you can play Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 all on one console generation.
That's true. It's very true.
Not talking about the Switch, obviously, because that doesn't have 2 or 3, but
right. There's also some other differences. I'm sorry, I don't have the news story up here that I was reading. You're going to be able to get up to 6 people into your game, which is summons. I believe that Dark Souls 2 was where they made the thing where you could summon 2 people. You could summon up to 3 people, and you could have up to 3 invaders. So you would have a big kind of melee. I've never really done that as much, so I don't know. This is weirdly controversial. First off, they're bringing the password system from Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 in, where you can set a summon password, and then your friend can set a password, so you can get just your friends into your game. You can just be like, I want to bring John in. Boop. But they are also switching from ad hoc to dedicated multiplayer servers. Now, I'm a little wishy-washy about this one because they just shut down, I think it's in February, they're going to shut down the Demon Souls servers for good. Having a dedicated server means it's a lot easier to get people into your game than doing the ad hoc connections.
I'm wondering if that's a Nintendo thing.
No, but it's coming to all of them.
I'm wondering if that's a Nintendo thing, and because Nintendo required it, they just said, fuck it, we'll do it for all of them.
Maybe. I do know that puts a timer on the lifespan of multiplayer for this version of the game.
Yeah.
The PC version, I've talked about before, the PC Dark Souls community will have events where everybody makes a new character, where it's like, hey, on September 2nd, everybody go make a new character and let's just all play Dark Souls together, and we'll have plenty of summons and invasions, and it won't just be everybody at SL 120 doing the meta game, right?
Yeah.
So that people can go back and play the game. And that's possible because there isn't a server, so you can still play it and get people in. Again, I don't have a problem with the idea. It's just that it puts a timer on the longevity of the multiplayer, because eventually in 5 or 10 years, at that point, the community will probably be fizzled out anyway, if not instantly, because because this is a re-release, right? But it's interesting, and it's good that you can get it all on this one console. Yeah. And then you can play it on the Switch. I don't have any problem with it. I mean, I'll probably buy it again. Like, I've already bought Dark Souls 2 times. 2 times for the first one. Once on the PC, once on the PS3. Yep, that's it. Bought Skyrim way more times than that.
Yeah.
Also, there's going to be a collector's... Well, okay, right in Japan right now, there is a Dark Souls Trilogy box set coming to the PS4 that will have the first, second, third games, all the DLC, all the soundtracks, some visual dictionaries, art prints, and bookends. Has not been announced for U.S. release. Something that I'm kind of interested in, except for the fact that it's $450, and outside of Dark Souls 1, I already own the rest of all those games and their DLCs.
Yeah.
Hell, I even own Dark Souls 1 and its DLC. So I don't know. The incentive on this one is low.
Well, I think that may be why it's Japan only, because I know in Japan they're really big on soundtracks, and some people might want to buy all 3 of these together.
Yep. Oh shit. Uh-oh. We talked about the Switch for too long. We gotta kick it into high gear. Fortunately, we don't have that much left to talk about. Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered has officially been announced.
Huzzah!
Which is great because that game...
I've never played it.
It was so good.
Unity are the only 2 I've never played. Unity I chose not to play for obvious reasons. This one I could not play because I was no longer playing Xbox 360 games.
Mm-hmm. March 20th, PS4 and Xbox One. If you're a fan of Assassin's Creed who's been tired of some of the bullshit, play this game. Shay Patrick Cormac is an assassin who, through a bunch of different interesting events in the game, ends up hunting assassins. So you're an assassin that is assassinating assassins. It's like Assassinception. Blah. Good game, criminally underrated. Better than the last 2 or 3 Assassin's Creed games. But it was back when they were still doing that thing where they released it on the Xbox 360, the PS3, and then the PC version came like 6 months later.
Yeah.
And then, it's taken them up until now to finally put it on the PS4.
Well, apparently it also has like 4K resolution or something like that.
Yeah, it's got all your standard remaster stuff. I mean, Assassin's Creed is one of those games that still looks good remastered.
Well, hell, Xbox apparently has their first Assassin's Creed game is backwards compatible, but apparently it also has like 4K resolution if you're playing it on Xbox One X.
Okay.
For the original Assassin's Creed.
Interesting.
Which, apparently looks really good.
Yeah. But this one, I mean, it's based on the AC4
it's Black Flag.
Yeah. Actually, I think it might be based on 3, because what it used to be is they had like the new one and then like the other one. They kind of were doing that with Assassin's Creed for a while, where it would be like Assassin's Creed 3, and then on the handhelds they had like Liberation or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, it's a good game. What I've played of it was very good, so check it out. Enchantress is coming to Injustice 2, and she looks real fun to play.
I think she just came out.
January,
or she's coming out within the next week.
16th.
Okay, next week. Okay.
Yeah. She looks like she's got a lot of like teleport control kind of moves, and I played a bunch of the Atom. I played a bunch of Hellblade. I played a lot of the DLC fighters for Injustice 2.
Yeah,
because Injustice 2 is fucking great.
Yeah, it's a great game.
And she looks real fun, but I'm glad that, she's coming out January 16th, which means it's only a matter of time until those Ninja Turtles are out.
That's Ninja Turtles, and then that's all of the Ultimate Edition DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there has been word that there could be more DLC coming.
One more fighter pack?
Or there are more fighter packs, but that's all that was. But this is all that's covered in the Ultimate Edition.
Oh,
so,
in the Season Pass. Okay.
Yeah, the big Ultimate Season Pass Edition or whatever.
Real briefly, what other comic book character would you like to see as DLC character in Injustice 2? Go.
Booster Gold, Blue Beetle.
Okay.
Well, we already got Blue Beetle, so Booster Gold.
I'm going to go with Bone and the Flaming Carrot, because why not?
Flaming Carrots be interesting.
Goddamn, we don't have enough time for this. New Vive has been announced that has higher resolution, redesigned frame to be easier, and then some kind of
headphones with 3D audio, and then it's also wireless.
It's got some kind of Intel wireless thing, which I'm real crazy about, because there's a lot of data that needs to be going back and forth.
Yeah, apparently, according to people that I've read that have tested it, said it's fucking phenomenal.
Okay,
and going from it and back to the current version of the Vive is like you just immediately go, I'm in the fucking Stone Ages.
It has a built-in camera on the front. It also it's worth noting that wireless technology can be applied to the old Vive, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I've heard you can connect this one wired if you want, but it's meant to be wireless.
Yeah. No price yet.
No price or release date.
No release date. Seems interesting. Apparently, it also does feel quite a bit better, which, to be honest, I mean, having played, Brushwood's got a Vive.
Yeah.
I've had an Oculus. PSVR is still the most comfortable VR headset because of the way that Halo Ring puts the weight on the back of your head and then just drops the camera in the front. Speaking of the PSVR, Sony's expecting the PSVR library to nearly double in 2018, which
they had a good 2017 for.
It's funny.
PSVR.
Chris from over at One of Us got a PSVR for Christmas. He's saying, like, what do I need to play? And I was like, I think there's about 5 things. Super Hot, Arizona Sunshine. You got Skyrim, Job Simulator, maybe one other. There's a lot of dross in the PSVR store, but I'm hoping that once we start getting more stuff like Moss, and the fact is there's another story that goes with this where their sales reports have said that Sony moved like 2 million PSVR units or something like that. That's good. That's very good. Apparently, they outsold the Vive and the Oculus in 2017, which is great, which means that there's enough of a financial incentive for them to, one, keep exactly this, double the library for software sales, and 2, hopefully maybe not E3 this year, but maybe next year, a hardware refresh to make things smaller, lighter,
Well, I think
faster.
they already announced a small hardware refresh.
They already had the one with the breakout box change, and they already had a small hardware refresh, but I'm talking about like a redesign to maybe make it, because, again, I think that the PSVR's design is so much better than the rest of them, where they basically you're just strapping a scuba helmet to the front of your face. So every time I put on a Vive, I'm just like, ugh, like it just bleh. There's so much weight on the front of my face. Anyway, so last year on Steam, John, would you like to take a guess how many games were released on Steam last year?
Too many.
It was 46% of the entire Steam catalog. How many is that, John?
Millions.
7,600.
Okay, I was off.
Specifically, 7,672 games.
How many of those were shovelware? 7,500 were shovelware.
Probably. 40% of the Steam library came out last year on Steam. So, it's good that they've tweaked Greenlight and all this stuff to keep too many games from coming out, right?
Yeah.
No. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. I can't ever find anything to play on Steam. It's just bullshit. Overwatch has a league that's coming out.
Had the first match last night.
Okay.
It was Dallas versus
Houston.
Seoul?
Oh, there is a Dallas division.
Yeah, no, there's also a Houston one as well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was Dallas versus Seoul. It was a really good match, too.
Okay.
Like, it's definitely one of those, like, if you can watch it, I mean, if you're interested in it, watch it, because it was good.
Okay, I might go back, because I think that I've never been a fan of professional sports, but I really do like Overwatch, and I got to be honest, unless they're just the biggest chumps in the world, I got to root for H-Town, man. I want to see dudes from Houston.
Oh yeah, no, I'm totally rooting for Houston.
They also put out a whole bunch of really generic skins that you can.
It's the team colors, essentially.
Yeah. I understand why. I kind of think that it's a little bit. I kind of wish that they had, instead of made it a skin for every single individual character, made it like packs of skins that you could get out of the boxes for like these three characters and these. Because when you do them, like, I know that nobody really is going to need to buy every one of those skins, but if you do the math on what it would cost to just buy those skins, it's redonkulous.
Yeah,
It's like $300 or something like that to buy all those skins.
Okay.
Even though they're not really very good skins. I don't care. But and let's see, real quick, Cyberpunk 2077 Twitter account said beep. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not dead.
First update in like 3 years.
Come on, guys. I want to play this game. Put it out. And last but not least, Hideaki Itsuno, the director behind Rival Schools, Devil May Cry 2, 3, and 4, and Dragon's Dogma, has said that his current project is, quote, under climax, and for fans to please expect it. I don't know if that's a thing that he uses for a lot of other things, but I do know that climax a lot of times is used in the Devil May Cry scoring system franchise.
Okay.
So maybe new Devil May Cry is happening. And then we can all stop talking about DMC, because you'll have a new Devil May Cry from your precious Devil May Cry guy. So there. And that is...
I want a new Rival Schools.
Okay. Maybe it's a new Rival Schools. John, we can hold out hope. I hope it's a Dragon's Dogma 2. So everybody wants something different in this world. But
everyone will be disappointed.
Everyone will
no
be
one
disappointed.
Will be happy.
That's correct. So on that note, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to have less disappointment as we talk about some games and answer some emails.
You don't.
Stick around. No, I don't. And we have some emails to get to, but before we jump into those emails, as I mentioned in the first part, I have played a bunch of games, and I'm not going to do a review for every single one of them, but I did want to talk about one of them. I may pepper these in as time goes on. I played all the way through and beat Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Good game.
Yeah. So this came out last year, and for those of you who don't know, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is the latest game from, what was it, Ninja Theory, the guys that made DMC and Enslaved, and
yes.
What was the other one? What was the PS3 launch one with the red-haired girl?
Oh,
God, what the hell was the name of that game? Anyway, Heavenly Sword.
Heavenly Sword, thank you.
Lady Kratos. I think Heavenly Sword's a very good game, actually. I don't think
it's not bad.
Gets its due. So, yeah, this is an interesting game. It basically is the story of Senua, who is a picked warrior who's kind of going into Valhalla, or not Valhalla, she's kind of going into the Norse underworld to hopefully try to resurrect her dead lover. It's a really weird game.
Really good, though.
Yeah. Well, mostly it's kind of strange because one of the big
it's
things,
using a lot of mythology.
Yeah, it does. In fact, it was really interesting. One of the things, even this isn't a spoiler, but I'm just talking about a few things here. So, Hela, or Hel, the goddess of the underworld in Norse mythology. One of the things that they bring up about her is that she is half black, half white face. That her face is kind of divided like a Janus, sort of. And I thought it was really interesting because then I thought back to Thor Ragnarok and the way that that Hela in there has this mask that comes down over the top half of her face that is black. And so she does have a half black, half white face. I was like, oh, that's cool. Anyway, it's a very gritty game. It's a third-person kind of adventure. There's some combat in it. The combat is kind of this real weird, stripped-down, kind of Souls-ish, but more just like a very personal one-on-one combat. It's very brutal. It always feels just very hard-hitting. It's not super difficult, but the game is not especially great at telling you. Like, when Amanda and I played it, you start the game and there's a weird split at the beginning where you can go down one path or go down the other path. And you're very much meant to go down this one path first, but the game doesn't do anything to direct which path you go down.
Yeah. Like, when I played it, Amanda was watching me play, and she walked out of the room, she came back, and she was like, wait, where are you? And I was like, oh, well, I did that. She's like, oh, we didn't go down that path.
Yeah. And the path that you go down has a lot more tutorialization of things that you would probably want to know on the other path. It's very interesting. It's strange in that the lead character is fully facial captured, and they spend a lot of time up in her face, and she does a very good job, because one of the other things is that it's very much about her. She's got mental illness, which is in the story is more framed as like the darkness that's been with her, but it's recontextualized in a way where they talked with psychologists about mental illness. And one of the things I can definitely say that I didn't know ahead of time was the game recommends at the beginning that you play it with headphones. And I got one of the Sony, that wireless Bluetooth 5.1 headset. Oh my God, it's such a different game with headphones, because there's these voices in her head that are whispering the entire time and saying stuff as you're just playing through the game. And having that right in your ears as opposed to coming out of your TV is a much more intimate experience, and it definitely heightens the
like, even though I'm sure headphones would actually be more even better. I have a surround sound in my apartment.
Okay.
And that was really
kind of coming from all
around you, and even Amanda was freaked out because we unfortunately we don't have a couch in our living room. We have a coffee table with my projector on it, and on each side is a chair.
Okay.
And so she sits in her chair and I sit in my chair when we're in the living room. And the speakers for the back wall are right above each chair. So it's like she would hear parts of it and she'd be like, oh God, that's really fucking creepy. Because she'd be like, is there someone outside talking on the No, it's coming from the speaker.
Yeah. There are a few points. I have two main gripes of the game. One is a gripe that I have with a lot of games, and the other one is also a gripe that I have with a lot of games. So there are sometimes, especially, the game is kind of segmented between the combat sections and then these kind of exploration sections that have different mechanics to them. Some of them, there's one really interesting section that's about going through these gates and that reality changes when you go into different areas. That's really cool. But one of the main things they have is where you'll have a locked door that has these symbols on it, and you have to kind of go through the land and find a place where you can see this symbol represented in the landscape, look at it, and that kind of unlocks the door. Those parts of the game can be a little infuriating when you can't find the symbol.
Yeah.
Because there'll be a kind of a hot or cold, these little runes in the air that tell you that you're close to it. But there were a few times where I'm just like, well, what the fuck? Like, where do you want me to look? And I just end up looking around, and it kind of fucked with the pacing a little bit in a way that I didn't really super enjoy. Like, I kind of wish that the game would have just been like, just go over here. Like, you don't need to keep looking. We know you want to progress. There's another thing. There's a third thing where at the very beginning of the game, and this is a spoiler that's been out there for a long time, so if you haven't played the game, I don't even know, where the game basically tells you that if you die a certain number of times, the game's going to be game over, because there's this corruption that comes on you every time you die.
It's going to corrupt your save or something.
Yeah. There's some parts that have instant death in the game, and there are a few parts, there's especially an area later on where you have you beat the game, right?
Yeah.
Where you have a light, and it's kind of like you want to stay out of the darkness, and when you're in the darkness for too long, then you just straight die. And there were a couple parts where I felt like the game was putting a lot of pressure on me between telling me about the corruption and then giving me these instant death sequences where I wasn't signposted very well. There's one point specifically towards the end of the game where you have to backtrack. A thing opens and then you have to backtrack back around it, and I didn't understand that, and I ended up dying a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, listen, motherfucker, I'm not dying because I'm bad at this. I'm dying because I have no idea where to go, and it seems like you want me to run through this area where if you're in it for too long, you just die. It was a little frustrating. And then the last thing was that there are these really interesting little areas where you zone in on these like stones, and there's a voice that comes up that tells you stories about Norse mythology. Yeah. You don't have to stand by the thing, but there's a radius to those where if you get too far away from that rock, then it starts to fade out, and then you don't hear the rest of the story. And there's so much of the game where it's just running around and exploring that I really wish that they would have just let that continue to happen so that I could have just listened to, because the stories were very interesting. Yeah. It's just I don't like it when a game wants you to stand in one place and listen to a story instead of hearing the story and then playing the game at the same time. I had a similar issue with Horizon Zero Dawn, where there's a lot of like audio logs in Horizon Zero Dawn, and when you play them, the game isn't good about like turning them off when the characters then are triggered to say a thing, so you end up with an audio log playing while you're having a conversation with somebody else. And that in Horizon Zero Dawn, there's also a thing where the cancel button for your audio log is the same button that you use to like pick things up or open doors, so you can constantly be accidentally canceling it. I feel like games are bad about audio logs. I like audio logs, and I think that the games that I've liked the most with it were I like the way that BioShock just plays them, and they're very much in a place where you're going to play that log, and then you're going to have enough time when you're playing the game to listen to the whole thing. And then I don't remember if it was, I think it was GTA 5, where you would be having a conversation with somebody. It might have been Saints Row. One of the games where you're having a conversation with somebody, and then if you do something, it'll interrupt that conversation, and then there's a segue back in where they say, now, where was I? And then they just kind of go back into whatever they were saying before. But in general, I really liked Hellblade, and I think that it's amazing that it's a pretty solid 8-hour game. Not a lot of replay value, but it's like $20.
Yeah,
right?
it's a solid play. It's a solid experience.
Yeah.
Also, just to kind of, in case you weren't aware of it, that thing that at the very beginning that says, "Oh, your data will be corrupted," it's bullshit.
No, I know that. I was not going to say that.
Oh, okay.
But
well,
I mean, I actually appreciated that I knew that when I started the game, because it meant that the game was fucking with you, just to add pressure to your play. But then I was glad that I knew that when I started getting frustrated because I didn't really die. I died by combat like once or twice.
Yeah.
It was mostly just.
I think I got stuck in one point of combat where there was like it was just one of those moments where you're surrounded by a bunch of large dudes.
Yeah.
And it's one of those that if you get too into it and rush, you die. But if you take your time and like stay focused and not try
get
to
a few hits in and then roll away.
Yeah. And so like I got stuck there for a while and it kind of frustrated me, and then I got past it and I was fine after that. But
I do think also that it's worth noting that Ninja Theory made a big deal about this being like, hey, look, you don't have to pay $60 for a well-produced 8-hour-long adventure game. And I'm 100% in their corner with that, because if they can make back their money on a $20 game.
It's funny because they said that they expected to, like, they were prepared to take a loss and consider it a success.
Yeah.
Like, they actually said, it's like, we can make this much money and we consider it a success because this is what we think we're going to make. But it's still, we're making this game at a loss. They made well over that.
Great. I'm 100%.
I think they broke even, but like barely.
Yeah.
But it was already well considered they were like, this is at a loss that most companies consider acceptable.
Right. Okay. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I got a chance to go back and play it because it was good and it was interesting. And I think that Ninja Theory doesn't get enough credit for being a kind of interesting company that makes strange and
so they are a company that I feel like what they don't get credit for is level design, because they have really good level design.
Okay.
Because the thing I remember about Enslaved is a great game, but the thing that always sticks out to me about Enslaved is its level design.
Yeah.
Again, the traversal stuff and stuff like that, and how they can make a scene. You look at a level and it's totally looks like a photorealistic level or whatever, but there's just enough to it to tell you what can you climb up on, and but it still looks, but it doesn't look out of place, because there are some games that put you can only climb up things that have this bright yellow ledge that
or a rope
that looks kind of out of place in the location that you're at, but it's there to tell you that you can climb up on it. They have a really good way of blending that into the level. DMC Devil May Cry, one of the reasons I love that game is the level design. The nightclub has fucking amazing level design.
Okay.
That is actually probably one of my favorite levels in a game, period, because I think the level design on that is just fucking ingenious.
Cool. Anyway, that's Hellblade. Go check it out. MailerAgeSite.com is the email address to send in questions, and our first question this week comes in from no signature. I'm going to call you Franklin. Franklin says, hey, Jeff and John. Actually, it specifically says, hey, Jeff, so I don't want to lump you in because this is a thing. But
I see how it is.
The question applies, I believe, to both of us. And this is trying to... Franklin here is trying to take me to town.
Oh, shit.
Says, I remember when the trailer for the remake of Shadow of the Colossus came out, you were very against the idea, stating that this had a remaster on the PS3 already. Why is there no complaints about Skyrim, who seems to have had its millionth re-release? You yourself said you bought the game many times, and it only came out in 2011. Wishing all those at Rage Select a Happy New Year from Franklin. So
I can honestly say I think I was the one who was negative when it was announced. You're like, cool, I'll play it. And I'm like, did we just fucking get that as a remake?
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Just to specifically talk about Shadow of the Colossus, Shadow of the Colossus, I was still meh about the remake until I learned that they were actually doing work on the game.
Well, they were rebuilding the game from the ground up.
Yes. This is the difference that I have in a lot of cases. So sometimes when a remake is put out, I'm interested in it because it's on a platform. Like if it was a platform exclusive game that's coming to a different platform, that's cool. Something that was just on the PC and now you can play it on a different thing.
Yeah.
If it was a smaller game that didn't get a wide release, I'm also interested in. I like that. But specifically, I like it when companies go back and put work in. It's one of the reasons why with Dark Souls, I'm not dissatisfied, but I'm not exactly just like, whoa, right, I can play Dark Souls for the 5th time, all right. Like I played Dark Souls a lot. So having it'd be like if they put out a remaster, if they put out Metal Gear Solid and they just up-resed all the PS1 textures and put it out, I'd be like, But what I want is for them to remake Metal Gear Solid 1.
Kind of like Twin Snakes.
Sort of like Twin Snakes.
I know your Twin Snakes is not really your favorite, but I'm saying like that's a remake.
And for me, I'm not even looking for them to remake. I don't even need them to like, because Twin Snakes put in like all the hold up and the first person stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that works with Metal Gear Solid 1, but I would like a version of Metal Gear Solid 1 with faces, right?
Yeah.
And like detail.
Well, it's
the
also
world.
like you said, you would have been more impressed if Dark Souls had been in the DS3 engine.
Yeah. With the heightened detail in the world. Like I don't want them to redo any of the mechanics of Dark Souls 1. I just want it to look way better. That's all I care about. But as far as Skyrim goes, Skyrim is okay. So this gets into a thing that I feel like we talk about sometimes on Rage Select. Somebody wrote a comment, and I've been looking for a place to talk about this comment. And this will tie back in here, but I think that you and I. I was talking about. It was in one of our Patreon videos. I don't think it was one of the Resident Evil ones. It was one of the other ones.
Okay.
Somebody said, "Hey Jeff, you always say that you don't like kids in movies, but you said that you liked the Babadook." So
no, that was actually on a dojo because I read
it was on a dojo.
Yeah.
Okay. WTF? And it's like, okay, just because I did like the Babadook doesn't suddenly mean that I like all movies that have children in them, or that I like children as general in movies. Just because damn it, I had another one of these, but just because I've come around on, say, just because I liked Pillars of Eternity does not mean that I suddenly enjoyed all the rest of Obsidian's games, or that I'm willing to say, just because I came around on Fallout New Vegas doesn't mean that I think Alpha Protocol is a good game. I tried playing Alpha Protocol 6 months ago. I didn't really care for Alpha Protocol still, but whatever. It's like, just because I didn't like the fact, just because I was cool about the fact of them remastering Shadow of the Colossus over and over and over again, does not mean that I don't find value in Skyrim coming to a different platform. And specifically because the Switch is not the same as Skyrim remastered on the PS4, right? Skyrim remastered on the PS4 is a little, that to me is a little, that has less value to me than Skyrim on the Switch, because specifically Skyrim on the Switch is Skyrim that I could take to grandma's house, or play on the train, or play at work, or play at the bar, or play on the toilet, or play wherever, right?
Yeah. Or Skyrim VR.
Skyrim VR, which is...
Because that's a different experience. That changes the experience.
Right. So the main difference with Skyrim on the Switch, as opposed to just like straight up Skyrim Remastered, is the fact that I now have a version of Skyrim that I can put in my pocket and take with me wherever I want to go, which is which is why I've actually been advocating for Skyrim on a portable platform for a long time. I wanted them to put it on the Vita. I thought it would have been a system seller for the Vita.
Oh yeah,
if they would have put it on there, or Dark Souls for that matter on the Vita.
Yeah.
If it had just had two fucking shoulder buttons, which it doesn't. But frankly, the thing that I'm trying to get across here is that my mind doesn't live in a world of remasters good or remasters bad. It's a thing where each needs to be taken according to the game, the platform, the time it's been out.
I'll even go on record, and this is me. I'm not a big fan of Oblivion, the Elder Scroll games.
Yeah,
I was almost call them Oblivion games. I'm not a big fan of the Elder Scroll games.
Sure.
I just don't like Skyrim. Like, I recognize that people like it, but I play it and it's just like, this is fucking stupid and boring to me.
Okay.
And that's not
John's
again,
hot takes, everybody.
And that's not to say that other people can't find enjoyment of it, because here's the funny thing. Yeah. I actually do enjoy watching you and Jason play all the Skyrim games.
Oh yeah.
Like the video that you, Jason, and Corey did on Spill, fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the fact that you were trolling Corey through most of it. But like I said, like
for the record, that was the troll, the giant in Skyrim did not have a hostile pip on the map.
I'm not saying
you got too close to it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know.
But it was hilarious. But it was still hilarious.
Yes. For years I've been taking shit about this.
No. I'm just saying it was hilarious to watch.
Okay.
Watching you and Jason play it. Hilarious.
Yeah. Man, Jason loved that VR. He loved that VR.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand. But but I personally I can't play them. I just don't like them. So when Skyrim Special Edition was announced for PS4 and Xbox, I went, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that was my reaction was, fuck you, I don't care.
Yeah.
Make something good. Like, fix your fucking engine. So that was my reaction to that. However, they said Skyrim on the Switch, and I was like, I'm less upset by that for kind of the same reasons that you went. I'm never going to play it.
Right.
But I'm less upset by it.
Yeah.
They said Skyrim VR, and I'm like, well, fuck, that's a no-brainer.
Right.
Like, I hate Skyrim, and I actually kind of want to play Skyrim VR because, it's a different experience.
Right.
But so I totally get that. Like it's a case-by-case thing. Like, and again, Shadow of the Colossus, I may have less of an issue with it than I did before, but again, we just got a remaster, an HD re-release of Shadow of the Colossus. Now we're gonna get another one. Okay, we're just gonna keep bringing out this dead horse. And yes, it was a great game. Yes, it is a great game. Yes, it was critically loved. Did it sell well? I don't think it did. I don't remember if it did or not. Is it going to sell well on this? Probably. I don't know.
I mean, there's also value inherent in the idea of if you were a person, and this is real legit, okay? Shadow of the Colossus came out a million fucking years ago.
It did.
It was a PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah, it was.
And not everybody had the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of the people that came in. Like, there's totally a case to be made of, let's say that you came into video gaming, and this is not a wackadoo off-the-wall concept, with the Xbox 360. Because the Xbox 360 was the console to have, powerhouse, last generation.
Yeah, it was.
So you had the Xbox 360. You never had a PS2. You didn't get a chance to play the remaster, but then you switched to the PS4, and now you're like, hey, I'd like to go back and play these Sony games. It's the same reason why I'm not like mad at the HD Uncharted collection on the PS4 because some people probably didn't play those games on the PS3.
And to a degree, like I'm less upset with those for that same. And again, it's also why I'm totally okay with a lot of the ports and re-releases on the Switch, because going from Wii U to Switch, I may have bought some of, like, I bought Bayonetta on the PS or on the Xbox 360. I bought Bayonetta on the fucking Wii U. Mm-hmm. I will fucking buy Bayonetta again.
You goddamn right you will.
On the Switch. and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm like totally okay with it, because you know what? I get it. It being ported brings something new.
It also is a thing where like specifically with Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
That port job was being done. That's being done by Bluepoint.
Yeah,
like it's not even like the developer isn't. I have to admit that in the first year or two of the Xbox One and PS4's lifespan, it was a little frustrating that there were so many remasters.
Yeah,
but we're past that, right? And in the same way,
we're probably going to have that same frustration for the Switch for a while, because because of the Wii U, a lot of companies didn't jump into support for the Switch. So now they're like, shit, we need to get something to the Switch quick. We could port this fucking game.
Right. But on the other hand, there's also a case to be made about, if you remember what the first year or two of, like, I remember when I got a PS3, and it was like a year and a half before anything worth a goddamn. I mean, you get like one thing every 6 months that was worth playing on the PS3. So I'm more than happy to not have shovelware garbage 7600 fucking Steam games on the PlayStation and have remastered re-releases of
really
PS3
good
games that were very good.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy. Hell, you know what? I would love it if they would remaster what was that game that we were just talking about from that Hellblade, Heavenly Sword?
Oh yeah.
Put that on the PSN for $20. I'd play that.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I think because again, I think we both stated that we've softened to Shadow of Colossus. We're actually totally okay with it because of what they're doing with it and everything.
As long as
I honestly feel like our reaction to it originally was because we were in the middle of that fatigue.
Yes.
We were in the middle of that. It's like it's like, fuck, give us something new.
Right.
Stop fucking giving us the shit we already paid for like 2 or 3 times.
Also, that was, I think that when they, I don't even know if when they announced that, if The Last Guardian even had a release date.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on!
Yeah.
Put that game out. Oh, wait, I didn't actually like that game, but whatever.
But yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, it's one of those things that time is a change in perspective. I feel like we were at a time where it was just like, fuck, everything's getting re-released for the new consoles.
Yep.
Just give us something new.
Give me something new.
And now we're getting new stuff. 2017 was a fucking great year for new games.
Really interesting year, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people got beat down by the loot box stuff at the end of the year, but when I start going back and looking at some of the other stuff, I mean, like, fuck's sake, I missed Horizon Zero Dawn, and like I just finished it, and I was like, wow, all right. That's solid work, Guerrilla.
Yeah.
I actually think that Killzone Shadowfall is a kind of underrated game. I liked Killzone Shadowfall. Anyway, our next question comes in from Daniel, and Daniel says, hello, Jeff and John. I've been reading articles about developers sharing hidden or subtle mechanics that they used in their games. These can range from giving you more damage resistance on your last bar of health to scaling AI difficulty depending on your performance. After reading some of the examples, I thought most of them were pretty cool. However, one common complaint that I've read about these mechanics is that it ruins the player's trust in the game. These critics seem to see them as tricking players to think that they are playing on their own merits rather than through subtle sleight-of-hand code tricks. Even if the mechanic is supposed to help players, they contend that this is bad design. So my question to you is, do you think that these types of hidden mechanics are inherently bad, or do you think they're clever, if done well, ways for developers to create a good experience? Thanks, take care, Daniel. And then some of the examples that he references, BioShock, first shots from enemies always missed you, so there were no just like headshot, you're dead moments. System Shock, last bullet does double damage. Shadow of Mordor, sliver of health added to dueling Uruk orcs to extend out the fight for spectacle. I assume that means that the orcs themselves get an additional little chunk of health so that you get to a dramatic conclusion. Doom 2016 and Assassin's Creed, last bit of health would count as more HP to create more I barely survived moments. Uncharted 2 through 4, if you're on a collapsing environment, the game would slow down or speed up the animation depending on how far along the ideal path you are. That's
okay.
Cool. Yeah. So what do you think, John?
I don't have a problem with that.
I have zero issue with this. And in fact, I think it's...
I mean, I feel like that's something that's been in different companies have done forever.
I feel like the only reason that you would complain about this is if you're one of those, like, I play on hard, fucking get good noob, like, I gain a huge chunk of my own personal satisfaction through the fact that I've overcome the difficulty of the game. One of the examples that he doesn't talk about that is that I feel like gets a lot of times glossed over.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there can be times where that's used and it's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like for the most part, I don't have a problem with it.
Like all of those examples, I don't have any issue with that. It's just mostly to kind of heighten your experience, which I guess, I mean, you could take them out to make the game quotey fingers fair, but then your experience would be slightly lessened by not having that. And like, why bother? Like if it's game designed to work behind the scenes to give you a better experience, I'm okay with that. As long as it feels okay. See, I guess that's maybe the problem with this is that the end result is if the game feels good when you're playing it, then I have no problem with that. But what I was saying is one of the best examples that I feel like a lot of people don't bring up is RE4.
Okay.
RE4 is totally dynamic difficulty. So the better you do at RE4, the less health pickups, ammo pickups, things they give you, the more of those zombies start turning into the big centipede head zombies, the more zombies get quicker and a little bit squirrelier. And then if you keep getting hurt, the game will scale that difficulty back. And if you keep dying, it will literally just start giving you more ammo, more health, more stuff so you can get through it. And all that happens behind the scenes. Like it never comes up and says like, nothing more insulting to me in a video game than when the game stops and is like, hey, buddy, you died a lot. You want to put it on easy? I'm just saying you might enjoy this game more if you played it on easy.
Yeah.
And it's like, go away. But like the way that game dynamically adjusts its difficulty to keep you moving through the game, that's a beautiful thing. Like there's nothing worse than a game where you're just banging your head up against the same thing over and over again because you feel like you're just not good enough for it, right? Some games, I mean, like, you know, Souls games and things like that. Some games, that's kind of the point, is overcoming a static difficulty obstacle, right? But, and I hate games that dynamically, I always hate it RPGs. Oblivion is one. Final Fantasy VIII is another, where they adjust the difficulty so that you're always at the same challenge level. Because I do feel like in games where you get more powerful, like you want to feel stronger as the game goes on because you've invested time into the game, and that's an important aspect. So, if the rats in Oblivion are able to kill you just as easily at level 60 as they are at level 1, to me that's a problem. It's one of the reasons why I don't. Final Fantasy VIII and I have a real contentious relationship, because that game scales the difficulty so that you're always kind of at a similar challenge rate. But I love the idea of not scaling it, preemptively scaling it, but scaling it based on your actions, which is what RE4 does, because it means if you're having a hard time, the game just lets up on you a little bit. But if you're doing well, the game kind of bears down on you a little bit to be like, all right, jokester, I shot 2 bullets in that last sequence. All right. And I noticed the same thing happened in The Evil Within 2, because when Amanda and I first played, and I was playing it badly, the game kept giving us more ammo. And when I went back in and was using stealth and was playing the game better, it gave us more of the green gel that you use to expand your abilities. So if you're having a hard time, it was giving us more health items, more ammo to keep going through it. But as we were fully stocked up on that stuff, then it just kept giving us more experience to be able to upgrade our characters more.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with this.
My big thing is am I enjoying playing the game?
Yeah.
If there's some mechanic there that's making my brain go, oh my God, I barely escaped this moment, and I don't fucking care.
It's also worth noting that the examples that you've listed out, none of these seem like they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, having the first shot from an enemy miss you in BioShock so that you can turn and get at an enemy.
Or get an idea of where it's coming from.
Right. That's not a big deal. Shadow of Mordor adding a little bit of health to an orc so that you can do a dramatic finisher on them. That's not making the fight with the orc any easier. It's just changing the end of the fight slightly. So I don't know. I haven't actually run into this as a criticism on the internet but then I didn't actually even know that these games did this.
Yeah.
So I do know that Overwatch gives a lot of leeway to the losing team for overtime. To like Overwatch tilts in the direction of overtime. So if there's like more, or at least early on it did, which is a little bit irritating because I know that. And sometimes when it goes into overtime and I'm like, come on, like that Tracer's barely on the point. Just get her out of here and fucking let's be done with this. But I don't have any problem with that. I mean, for the most part. Let's see. Julio says, hey, Jeff and John, I recently watched Last Jedi and have been on a Star Wars binge. I watched the original trilogy. The best parts, he wrote original trilogy, but that's how I say it. The good parts of Revenge of the Sith, and played a lot of the old Star Wars games. OG Battlefront 2 is still best Battlefront 2. Whatever. Since I feel Disney will renew the Star Wars license to EA again because fuck good Star Wars games, am I right? I want to ask, what would be y'all's dream Star Wars game? What genre? What would be the story? And how would it play? And who would develop it? My personal dream would be another Star Wars flight combat sim in the vein of Rogue Squadron games made by the Ace Combat team. Interesting. Thanks for answering my questions, Julio. Dream Star Wars.
I'd be okay with either some type of Star Wars like Rogue Squadron or space sim kind of thing, or an actual third-person story-driven either Jedi Knight style game or like the Jedi Knight games, or even something like Shadows of the Empire. Like those type of third-person games, like I'd be totally down for.
My first thought, well, my brain always goes to like, and it's weird because I feel like it actually works, like a Dark Souls combat in a Star Wars format with the lightsaber, like because like you have different, like it's so focused on the martial weapons and on the skill of beating difficult opponents that I think it could be interesting. But to be honest, I think I'd rather have something. I mean, I was really excited for 1313. Something maybe not exactly Uncharted in the Star Wars universe, but what I'd really like, John, really, something that doesn't have any fucking laser swords in it.
Okay.
Something where it's like,
that's what I was saying, or Shadows of the Empire where you had a character that wasn't Jedi.
I know.
Masters of Terrascasi?
Masters of Terrascasi 2, developed by NetherRealm. That would actually be really cool, but that's not what I'm thinking of. Do you remember?
Do you remember what Masters of Terrascasi was?
Yes, but that's why you have NetherRealm develop it so that it's not garbage. Do you remember Freelancer?
Yeah.
I like something like Freelancer where you play as a smuggler, and I like to integrate. I've always wanted a game that had good space stuff and then some kind of ground stuff as well. So if it was something like maybe Mass Effect 2 style basic ground combat with some story-driven stuff and then some amount of privateer style space combat, but set in the in the Star Wars universe, where you could play as a smuggler, right? Like, because I feel like that's it's a good hook for people, but it doesn't. You don't have to be a fucking Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Is that you could do like, I'm gonna smuggle spice on the Kessel Run, and maybe the Black Suns are gonna betray me. Wait, is that Star Wars Black Suns?
I don't remember.
Whatever. Like, let's go do some of that stuff instead of the Grand Galactic Jedi horse shit. Or I don't know. Yeah, I'd be interested in something like that, something that was narratively different. I think Mass Effect would actually be a good, like Mass Effect 2 would be a good framework for a Star Wars game.
I mean, the framework for Mass Effect 2 just came from the fucking Old Republic.
Oh, KOTOR. Yeah.
KOTOR.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a story-driven Star Wars game where you got to make your own character. It's too bad that BioWare fucking sucks balls now. Man. It's a Mass Effect game last year, and it's nowhere near my list. I don't even feel like going back and playing that game.
Yeah. No, what was it? Black Friday, I saw it for sale for $5 at Walmart. Like,
yeah.
I was just like,
nah.
For $5, I was like, no, I'm not.
I've no desire to even go back. All right, let's see. Aaron says, Dear Jeff and John, Happy New Year. Looking forward to your Best of the Year list. I've been putting together a few of my own Best of the Year lists, and I want to ask your opinions on some. So this is not Game of the Year. This is just some subcategories. Who was your favorite video game character in 2017, and what was your favorite moment in a game this year? Thanks. Looking forward to another year of Rage Select. Your loyal patron, Aaron.
Ooh.
This is a hard one. I know I put you on the spot. So
yeah, you did. Do you want to go first?
I don't know that I have an answer. Let's see. I'm trying to run down the list of characters in games. Fucking Jack Baker might be one of my favorite characters of 2017. Motherfucker just won't stay in the ground. I mean, like, hell, I went back when I was doing my best of 2017, and I was watching Jason and I playing Resident Evil 7, and that part 2 where he gets out of that car, and then when you're going up the things and he grabs you, it's just like, I'm going to show you something wonderful, and fucking blows his own brains out. And they're just like, God damn, what is this game? What is this game?
Yeah, that would actually, I think
one of my favorite moments was definitely when I started playing Breath of the Wild, and the old man is basically, it's like, it's dangerous to go alone, like, kind of take this, and I was like, oh wait, holy shit, this is fucking like the original Legend of Zelda. Like, I've been waiting for that for a long time, but like an old man in a little cave, with some fire around him is like, here, take this, bye. And I'm like, yeah, all right, that's cool. Definitely, again, with the Switch, the first time that when I got my Switch, and the first time that I took it out of the dock, and I was like, oh shit, they didn't lie. Like, the trailers didn't lie. You just take it out and like, and then you put it back in and like, whoop, it's back on the TV.
I could say, I think my favorite oh shit moment, Mario Odyssey, when I threw the hat at the Tyrannosaurus Rex on like the first planet where you see one, and then he takes over the Tyrannosaurus Rex. I was just like, oh shit, this is amazing. I gotta take a picture.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of like my like, oh shit, this is like the best. I'd probably agree with you. Jack Baker probably
2017. I just the main issue, Aaron, is that
so much came out.
Is that I'm trying to rack my brain. Like, I don't want to forget anything. Let's see. Never got into PUBG this year. Which kind of sucks. Let's see. Prey. Prey was good. I liked Prey quite a bit. I don't know if there was anything, Night in the Woods, Evil Within Arms, Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, Pyre. I know there was more to it than this. Let's see. I wonder if this is just events in the industry. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot of things. Just trying to think of all the different things.
I'm sure I'll probably go home and then remember some character or something that I'm just gonna be like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah. Kind of near. Oh, you know what? I forgot about this until I was looking through the videos to put up for my best of things. Let us not forget one of the most. Okay, yeah, this might be my most like what the fuck moment of 2017 was every moment that I spent playing the game Everything. That game is so fucking weird, and every time I thought that I got it clocked and that it was like, zoom out even more, zoom in even more, look at this, look at that. I was like, well, here, now you're a coin on a city street, now you're in an atom, now you're a microscope, now you're just lights. Oh, look, it's the universe again. Add a bunch of ice cream cones to this universe and see what happens. And I was just like, fucking goddamn. Yeah, I think that a lot of my 2017, I mean, like the Switch was really a great, a very interesting thing. PSVR was also a very what the fuck moment this year for me. They were playing like Arizona Sunshine and just being like, holy shit. Like,
yeah, I know. Batman Arkham was fucking mind blowing when I bought my PSVR and played that. That was Star Trek Bridge Crew, for as weird as it is also kind of a really good, and I say it's weird just because it's kind of feels a little broken, but at the same time it's still mind blowing to be on the bridge of your own ship.
Yeah.
Playing with other people. And then fucking Accounting Plus.
I haven't actually played all the way through that. Oh, you know what? Another interesting moment.
Yeah, apparently there's an ending that I haven't found yet.
It's not a thing that happened in a game. I'm legitimately impressed that that gamers as a whole, that Battlefront 2 didn't get glossed over. That there was so much ire and backlash that Disney literally told EA to turn off the loot. Like, I'm amazed. It's so often that gamers just get so upset about a thing, and then it's like we forget about it a week later. And I think that this it's such an interesting perfect storm where the industry had like 8 games in a row with loot boxes that fucked up beloved franchises, and it culminated in this franchise that everybody really gives a shit about getting really fucked up by their stupid fucking loot boxes. Because I was thinking back to like during E3, you know, and we're not having a season pass, and look, we got different classes for these different things, and like, and it all seemed like it was going to go all right. It seemed like Battlefield 2 was going to be all right, and then it was just like, wow, what a tsunami of hate, and I don't know. Anyway, Aaron, I'll probably think about it more, but okay, here's a good one. So it comes in from I'm going to call you Kirby. Kirby says, "Hello, Jeff and John. Hope you had joyful holidays for the year and for the new year. I hope Donocles showers you with many wonderful surprises. For Christmas, my parents gave me a Super Nintendo Classic. Congratulations. Nice. It's a neat little device that comes with 20 classic games. Yeah, we know. I don't have one, motherfucker. I recently beat Super Metroid, and now I'm wondering what I should play next. Since you guys know more about these old games than I do, I was wondering if you guys could tell me a little bit about the ones I should play next. So here's
the thing, before you get into that.
Yeah.
You beat Super Metroid, but can you beat it in 2 minutes?
I can. Okay, so here's the list. Contra 3, Earthbound, Donkey Kong Country, Final Fantasy 3, F-Zero, Kirby's Dream Course, Kirby Superstar, Mega Man X, Secret of Mana, Star Fox, Street Fighter 2, Super Castlevania 4, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario RPG, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Super Punch-Out, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and Yoshi's Island. Those the games.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say.
I'm joking, of course. Yeah, but yes.
Oh no, I agree with you. I mean, all those are solid.
I mean, some of those are games that aren't like you're gonna play, and you're probably gonna play for like a short amount of time, like in small bursts, like Mario Kart or F-Zero. You're not gonna sit there and play them for
Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter 2.
You have things because those are short. On the other hand, Earthbound, Final Fantasy 3, Super Mario RPG are very long games.
Mega Man X.
Mega Man X is solid, and if you just played Super Metroid, that's a good follow through because it's a 2D side scroll and kind of action game. I was going to put my money on Link to the Past. Is still
it's
such a solid game.
Yeah,
that's a great one to play.
Link to the Past and Mega Man X are probably the two biggest. I like Donkey Kong Country. I think it's a good game. You probably can put that off for a while though. But yeah, Mega Man X and I am a huge Mega Man fan.
I'm not a big fan of Yoshi or Kirby, so I can't recommend either one of those. I remember really liking Secret of Mana, but there's also a remaster coming out of that pretty soon. Earthbound is very interesting. I've never beaten it, but it's a real strange game. It's also very long, so be ready for that. You could probably beat, like, if you wanted to go through it and knock some of them out, Mega Man X, Super Castlevania, Contra 3, those you can all knock out relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Like 3 hours or so per.
Yeah.
I bet you could probably beat those, depending on how good you are. Donkey Kong Country, same way, as a side scroller. I don't know, Kirby and Yoshi, maybe, but I'd say really what you should probably ask yourself is how much time do you want to put into the next one? Because like Final Fantasy 3, or AKA Final Fantasy 6, is my favorite Final Fantasy game. I think it's a beautiful game that's got a wonderful story that spans this huge epic thing, but it's a big game. It's not a short game. You're going to be playing that for a while. The same with like Earthbound or Super Mario RPG. So if you're looking for something that's really long and interesting, Final Fantasy 3 also is of this list. There's not a huge. Most of these are Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Contra, Final Fantasy,
Mega Man,
Secret of Mana, Mega Man. Those are probably the only non-Nintendo games that are on here. Star Fox is also real solid. I don't know how it holds up though. At the time, it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
But so there you go. I don't know. I'm gonna say Mega Man's good. If you're looking for something longer, Final Fantasy 3 is good. You can also play Final Fantasy 3 until you're sick of it, and then play some F-Zero or Street Fighter and
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past. Absolutely fantastic game. And last but not least, Nima Hose says, "Hey, hi Jeff and Sexy John. I've got another hypothetical for you. If you were selected to go on a mission to colonize Mars with no chance of returning to Earth, would you go? You live to at least 80, and also you get one shipment of a year of the 10 best video games of that year with the required consoles if needed." I'm glad that this is taken care of. If not, would you visit Mars? But when you're on the way back to Earth, it's a 25% chance you'll die. Thanks for all the laughs, Nima Hose. All right, so let's go to the first one. Would you go to Mars if you could never come back?
Have we? I think we've done this hypothetical before.
Did we?
I feel like we have.
I don't remember us.
I said as long as Amanda's willing to come with me, I'd totally do it.
Did we do this already? Did it get asked in a RE7?
Oh, I don't know.
Comments?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't remember.
I just vaguely remember being asked something like this. So
okay, I don't remember actually asking this one, and it came in.
Oh no, I'm not saying we've asked this specific person's email.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying like this. I'm saying like like someone else asked this question of would you travel to Mars with no if there was like 100% chance you would never get to come back or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Like yeah.
If Amanda would go with you,
if Amanda was totally down for going, I'd be down.
Hell yes, I'd go. I'd totally go. I'd go for good. I'd go to visit. I'd go either way. If I could go to Mars, I'd take a like a 50-50 chance that I wasn't going to live just to go put my foot on another planet. To be in that club, hell yeah, I'd take a chance for that.
Yeah, if it was all expenses paid.
Yeah,
I didn't have to save up or.
Do I still have to do Rage Select from Mars?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mars Select.
MarsSelect.com. Yeah, no, totally. I don't even have to think about that for 1 second. I totally go to Mars. I don't have any problem with that. And that's our show. So mail at rageselect.com is the email address. Send in your questions. We are a bit low, so send in some questions. They'll probably get read. And first podcast of 2018
in the can.
Woo! Only 51 more to go.